I'm going to be 69 in a couple days. So that said, as you get older, you lose balance, you lose mobility, you lose bone density, you lose muscle. I found a way to hold all that back and actually put some on.
I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm going to set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine-tune any difficulties that you're having. What's up, bro? You got so much going.
I just want to know, for starters, like, I don't even know that my protein powder is out, but you got it. How did that even happen?
Because we know the manufacturers and the owners of the manufacturing. And she said, she saw that I was talking about you're coming to town and hanging with me. And
right.
She goes, we just finished up his stuff. And I said, send it to me. Send it to me instead of him, because he won't be there. He'll be with me. And I think it would be funny if he shows up and it's like, I got the packet. So I have his protein before he has his protein, and it's not even released yet. So
it kind of knocked me on my ass a little bit, because I was looking over and I saw it, because it's so bright and the way the colors we use, and I haven't really seen anybody doing that yet. And I looked over and I was like, that looks kind of familiar. And I was doing something, and then you came in and said, hey, look, and it's like, I could still hit me. It was mine. I thought, God, that looks so familiar. And then I saw my face, and you got it. I was like shocked.
It's a nice surprise. Or a shock.
Oh.
Thanks for doing this. I've been running for a while, and Mona says, yeah, you're scared of the workout. And I'm glad I was scared, because it made me level up. And today was, we'll put this in there for you guys to see it, but we did your yoga, the DDP yoga, and I loved it. I love the stretching. And I understand it. I understand the importance of it. So not just like we did the power cuffs.
Right.
There's an understanding to it that I love. Besides having a good workout on it, okay, that's a given. Now, is there a benefit from it? It's like the guy going to CrossFit. He goes, I had a great workout. I sweated. I hit 130, my heart rate and this and that. And it's like, okay, now what's the benefit from it?
Right.
And the benefit from that would be, well, there's possible injury. You're doing technique exercises in a fatigue state, so you're risking a higher level of injury.
Sure.
And so there's like so many facets to it. And what I found with your power cuffs is that the benefit from it, yes, I got an absolute monstrous pump. Monstrous. And I wouldn't have done more. I wouldn't need to do more, except I'm running myself into the ground.
Right, sure.
You're
running
one
a little
set.
hard right now.
Yeah, and so for me, that one exercise per body part was, I just did one bicep, one tricep. We'll add that in here to show you guys. And that was enough for me. But the joints, I could see the benefit to the joints. The blood flow is ridiculous, which makes joints feel good. And I don't think people realize that.
Right.
You know,
and build muscle.
And you burn calories, build muscle, and do all those things. But I could see how the individual will benefit from it. And so huge props. Besides giving me a workout, but on top of that, you got something here. So we just finished one movie. It turned out great. I am loving it. I love the dailies that we see. On to the next project. You finish, you keep going, you keep trying to go. That's, I guess, a better way to say it. And this next movie that I have booked, this is going to take all of me. This is going to take slice to the bone, all the character development, but also I need to be able to move and groove and keep that strength through this process. You'll understand why that is after you see the movie, but keeping the strength is key when you're dieting. And so I'm going to show you how to do that on Power Bodybuilding. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you over there. You have something great here.
I just think I really think, I trademarked a long time ago when I found out I could. We can rebuild you. For one. As soon as that came available.
Okay. Do you want to tell them where that's from?
Oh, $6 million man, baby.
Boom.
You know, I mean, we can rebuild you, and we're going to change the face of fitness. Not overall, but for the guy who loves it. And I'm just focusing on the guy who's in his late 40s, 50s, who's got a ton of injuries. They still want to be able to move the weight because that's how they get the pump. That's how it lasts. A lot of guys will break down and go to lower weight and do multiple reps, and they get the pump in the gym. But when they left the gym and got to the car, it's almost all gone. By the time you get home, okay, you got a little bit of a pump still going. With blood flow restriction training, it literally, it confuses the brain and the body to make it feel like it's heavy weight when it's not. So there is, like you said, no wear and tear in the joints. And for me, it helped me put close to 1.5 inches back on my arms, which were starting to dwindle. I'm going to be 69 in a couple days. So that said, as you get older, you lose balance, you lose mobility, you lose bone density, you lose muscle. I found a way to hold all that back and actually put some on. So that's the goal with DDP Yoga and the Power Cuff combination. And I wanted you to see it because I knew you'd get it. And plus, again, at some point, I mean, you're a beast in the gym and everybody knows it. You're moving this seriously heavy weight. I just watched you do like 6 reps reverse bench presses. And I just go to Steve, look at this. Because you weren't doing this. You're doing exactly the way you should be doing it to be safe with that kind of weight. But again, you're playing with it. And eventually, you know, you will be in your 60s and you will be in your 70s. And I wanted you to see this because I knew you'd appreciate it.
Yeah, love it. And I recommend it. Recommend it. And I know that you've lived at the pinnacle and you've pushed it. And like most wrestlers, it's a tough industry and a lot of banging up.
A lot of banging up.
And so for you people at home, I recommend you try this out and the enjoyment of it. And you said something, it makes lifting fun again.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst thing in life?
I'll tell you why I stopped. I was 51. I'll never forget. I was leaving the gym and I'm like, God, what did I do to my shoulder today? Because I didn't feel it then, but I'm feeling it now. And I found that it was like the revolving pain. It wasn't my shoulder, it might have been my bicep, it might have been my pec, because I'm lifting too heavy and my joints aren't liking it. And I finally said, I'm done. You know, because I went to the lower weight and tried doing that, and the pump wasn't lasting. So it wasn't worth it to me. So I said, I'm just doing DDP yoga, period. And I was able for probably close to 10 years to hold on to some good muscle. But over those last few years, a little bit low, a little bit more gone, a little bit more gone. And that's the number one thing we need. That's the number one thing we need is muscle to be able to, as we get older, be able to do the things that we want to do when we want to do them. And so many people get so stagnant and get in the chair. And they don't get out of the chair. And the bottom line is, I don't care what age you are at that time, you're going to start losing the muscle. And as you get older, it is so important to have it.
When I said earlier, it's like, what's the worst thing in life? Worst thing is pain. And pain stops you from everything.
100%.
And so this is a way to work around that and keep moving. And again, you know, I'm not making it out of this world alive. And so minimize the decline as best as possible. And so here's just another aspect for it. And I know they say 40 and 50, but I get messages from 20 and 25-year-olds saying now it's like, oh, my elbows hurt, my shoulders hurt. Well, switch it up, try this out. And then again, I know for most of the youngsters love pumps.
Right.
If you want a ridiculous pump, the 30-20-20-20 was like, I got to try Jeff on that because these kids, man, they love pumps, and my arms were gorged.
For me, being able to take someone in, and I've had guys, and you were the first one ever who I know is slinging anywhere from 75-pound to 100-pound dumbbells. You started with 25. Mm-hmm. And I know guys who moved that kind of weight, yet they started with 40. And they weren't going to make the first 30 reps. And when they do, they've already blown me. So now they're going to go down to the 25s. And that's really heavy. Like for me, when I first started, I wanted to lift smarter, not harder. I wanted to try to get back some of that feeling of youth again. So I've been using the power cuffs, with AKA back in the day where I call them the jack straps. And I was no weight, just using as part of DDP yoga because I do a lot of dynamic resistance, engaging and flexing the muscles as you move. So you're not just stretching, you're stretching and strengthening the muscles, ligaments, and tendons. So when I started that, the strap it wasn't quality, it wasn't easy to operate, where the power cuffs, as soon as we developed that, I was like, okay, now I'm going to go back and try to lift. And I started with dumbbells, supinated curls, 10 pounds. And I didn't go over 10 pounds for the first 2 weeks. And then I finally got to 12 pounds. And that's a big difference when you're working with power cuffs. You get to 15 pounds, you're like, wow, I'm going to be here for a while. Now I'm at 20 pounds. I guarantee you I'll never go more than that. And for the second series, because we talked about 30-30, 20-20, 20-20, 20-20. That means 8 sets we just did in one series. I'm going to take a minute break, pop, get the blood flow going. And for any of you guys who have no idea about blood flow restriction training, think about like this. When you put your heart pumps out the blood, the oxidized blood, right? And the arteries run down your fingers, they run down your toes, and then the veins take it back up into your heart. Think of the arteries as PVC piping. So that blood's just going to keep flowing. No matter how tight it gets, it's going to keep flowing. But the veins that take it back, think of them as a garden hose. And if you step on a garden hose, it's still going to leak out water, but it's not going to flood out. So now it's going to trickle out. And from what my understanding is, building muscle beside carrying it down and building it up again is get the blood flow there. And those last few reps is where we grow. That's my understanding of that. This is there, as you felt, almost immediately. So now you're getting that pump that lasts. And Tony Freeman, and we talked about this earlier, we both love him to death. He, after coming back, after not lifting for like 7 years, came back and started with this. And he knew right away. He was like, wow, dude, you got something here.
He messaged me and goes, I'm so curious to see what you think of this. And so, Tony, love it.
It's that time again to get my blood work done to see where my numbers are. Again, the one big thing for me is I'm keeping track of it. It's so precise. You know, I competed in bodybuilding and powerlifting and martial arts, but that was all over decades ago. And so how can I continue to keep this physique and be this strong at this stage? And so that is by optimizing my health with Titan Medical. It all stems from one thing: your blood work, what's going on inside of you. And that's the main thing that I'm focused about, is see how I can continue to not just be in the game. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be a weekend warrior. I don't want to say you got a dad bod. I want to be the pinnacle of the health and fitness industry decades after I competed. And I've always said this too. You got so many of these guys that were with me in the 80s and 90s, and they keep putting the pictures up from the 80s and 90s. I don't want to be that guy. I like the fact that I can still put up pictures of me today, even though I won the universe back in the 90s. That's the goal for me. I don't know what your goal is, but I can tell you this. I know you want to live, and I know you want to live your best life. And that starts with blood work. Over at Titan Medical, start today.